the Ben Shapiros of the world. Yeah. These people who don't necessarily have the intellect to have honest discussions, but but yet they're able to become millionaires because they're actually just circularizing and promulgating this fear.
There are many, many confounds when it comes to these particular issues. And unless you remove the statistical confounds, you end up with trying to blame vague, shadowy figures like implicit bias, which are innately, insanely difficult, if not impossible, to measure.
I don't know what he just said.
I'm sorry, you should.
That's CNN correspondent and race-obsessed weirdo Bakari Sellers leaving the comfort of the clueless cat ladies on The View to get absolutely destroyed by Bill Maher and Ben Shapiro over his ridiculous progressive nonsense. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it's funny how these pretend journalists always talk a big game when they do interviews on shows like The View or Colbert, but the instant they venture out of their echo chambers into the real world, they're like deer caught in the headlights.
Well, if all you have to do is ask my father, who literally was shot in the Orangeburg Massacre, right? Who helped found SNCC, who marched with Marion Barry and Stokely Carmichael and Martin Luther King, and the list goes on and on and on. And he will tell you today that he feels like this country's at 1954. And so if you want to talk about somebody...
But that doesn't mean it is. Well, you said he feels that way. That's ridiculous. It is. Come on.
But I think the ridiculous notion is for either one of you all to have the audacity to believe that you understand what the experience is to be...
I have to object to that.
But you just said
I cannot talk about it because I am not part of a group. I am a sentient human being. You're right. There's two ways you cannot understand something. One is to be too far from it. We're too far from it. We can't see like you can. One is to be too close to something. And then sometimes you can't see it accurately either.
I'm not too close to something. I am that.
I know.
And so, but what I am saying though is for you to discount my father's experience and say that,
I'm not discounting it.
And to say it was silly.
I'm not.
No, he was shot.
No,
Were you shot?
No, but he's still alive. Like, he's right here. Like,
right, but the idea that if I were to say to you, as a Jew, that the experience of Jews in the United States today is worse than the experience of Jews in Europe in 1939, I would not be stating accurately.
Correct.
It's not true.
That's
and it's also not true to say that the experience of black people in America in 2024 is worse on a general level than the experience of black men in 1954 in Alabama. That's just crazy.
But I mean, I think
you know, say what you want about Shapiro, but he's good on boilerplate issues like this, especially when arguing with dopes like Sellers, who seems to be under the impression that if he complains about race enough and makes himself a victim, that'll provide him some sort of notoriety or job security. But the truth of the matter is, the average person finds this stuff divisive and off-putting. It's why CNN kicked Don Lemon to the curb and Elon pulled the plug on his comeback show. I mean, even lefty political hacks like Jon Stewart are pushing back on Sellers for being full of it and gaslighting people.
Over the 4th of July weekend, there's 109 people in Chicago who were shot. 19 fatally. That's a lot over a weekend.
Yeah.
And the race of the victims will not be reported. Is that helpful? And why is that? Why don't they report that? Let's have some real talk here.
And people want to make it a blue city thing. But if you look at the violent culture or the number of deaths or the rate of crime and violent crime in states like Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina, Georgia, we have a problem. And we're just not doing a good enough job. But we also don't necessarily have the resources poured into our community to help lift those people up. I hate when people say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and we don't have no damn boots.
I mean, I'll disagree with the last aspect only to the extent that I do believe that everybody in the United States has the capacity to get married, father kids, and stay with the family that they created.
Well, Donald Trump didn't.
I mean, and I disagree with that. And I disagree with that. It does, by the way, I should know, does not undercut the point at all, and you, I think, agree with me.
Well, I mean, I hear you, but I think where I would probably disagree with both of you guys is that we've never really evaluated the systems that we have in this country. I mean, most times when we talk about racism...
I just asked the question.
No. I'm bringing us together. I'm bringing us together.
If we're talking about single motherhood, for example, obviously the rate of single motherhood in the black community has increased from 20% to 70%.
The short answer to Bill's question here is that the media doesn't want to report hard truths about race because they're part of a Democrat media complex and it will look bad. It's why transit and metro stations in California stopped posting videos of fare evaders and criminals, and it's why media outlets are constantly playing this euphemism game with criminals where they'll identify everything about a criminal except his race when he's black, but never forget to mention it if he's white. And what people like Sellers don't understand is that this doesn't help anybody, because it doesn't help anyone understand the root causes of these issues or prevent crime. It's just like PC language. You can change the name of something to sound nice, but that doesn't change the nature of the thing itself. But let me know what you think. Is there anyone at CNN who could actually hold their own outside of their political echo chamber, or are they all clueless losers? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!